Welcome, economy enthusiasts and casual observers alike. Grab your calculators and put on your thinking caps, because we're about to dive into the wild world of Trumponomics. That's right, we're exploring President Trump's grand plans to clean up America's financial mess. Spoiler alert, it involves more than just his signature hairspray. Now picture this. You're sitting at home, scrolling through your phone, when suddenly you realize that your eggs cost more than your first car. Okay, slight exaggeration, but $8 for a carton? That's enough to make a chicken blush, and don't even get me started on gas prices. Remember when filling up your tank didn't require taking out a second mortgage? Well, folks, our intrepid host, Dave Ramsey, decided to tackle these burning questions head-on. And who better to ask than the man with the golden economy plan himself, Donald Trump? So Dave packed up his best tie and headed to the glittering Trump Tower. I hear the elevator buttons are made of solid gold. Okay, that's probably not true, but a guy can dream, right? As Dave settled into his seat, probably trying not to accidentally lean on any priceless artifacts, he got down to brass tacks. "Mr. President," he said, "this inflation thing is kind of a big deal. What's your 90-day plan to turn this ship around?" Now, hold on to your MAGA hats, folks, because Trump's response was nothing short of economic shock and awe. He declared, with all the subtlety of a foghorn, "I believe I'll be able to get energy down to 50% of what it is right now within a period of less than a year." Whoa there, cowboy, 50%? That's not just moving the needle, that's breaking the whole darn gauge. But how, you ask? Well, according to Trump, it's all about unleashing America's inner oil tycoon. We're talking drilling, fracking, and enough energy production to make OPEC sweat. It's like he's planning to turn the entire country into one giant oil rig. Texas, are you listening? Now, I know what you're thinking. But what about the environment? Well, folks, that's a discussion for another video, preferably one with fewer dollar signs and more trees. But wait, there's more. Trump's not just planning to drill baby drill, he's also got his sights set on that old nemesis of every working American, taxes. That's right. He's proposing to slash corporate tax rates faster than a Black Friday sale. We're talking a drop from 21% to 15%. But here's the kicker. You've got to manufacture your products in the good old US of A to get that sweet, sweet tax break. It's like Trump's playing a game of economic chess, while the rest of us are still trying to figure out how the pieces move in checkers. He's not just moving the goalposts, he's rebuilding the entire stadium. But let's take a moment to appreciate the irony here. Trump, the man known for his towers and gilded everything, is now championing the cause of the little guy. That's right, folks. He's going to bat for small businesses. It's like watching Godzilla advocate for the preservation of tiny Tokyo buildings. Unexpected, but oddly heartwarming. Trump waxed poetic about the plight of small business owners, saying, "I know small businesses are where jobs come from. When you guys in government can take your hands off of small business, we're able to employ people and change things. It's enough to bring a tear to the eye of every mom and pop shop owner from sea to shining sea." But hold on to your ledgers, because Trump's not done yet. He's got a message for all you budding entrepreneurs out there. You have to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, it's not going to work. Words of wisdom from the man who turned "you're fired" into a national catchphrase. I guess when you love your job, even firing people becomes a joy. Now, let's talk about Trump's secret weapon in the war on economic woe, tariffs. That's right, he's dusting off the old playbook from the 1890s. William McKinley, eat your heart out. Trump sees tariffs as the ultimate shield against foreign competition. It's like he's building a wall, but instead of bricks, he's using tax policies. Very on brand, Mr. President. But here's where it gets interesting. Trump claims that back in the good old days of the 1890s, America was so flush with tariff cash that they had to form a special committee just to figure out how to spend it all. Can you imagine a government with too much money? That's like a unicorn riding a dinosaur. Theoretically possible, but highly unlikely. Speaking of unlikely scenarios, let's take a detour to talk about Trump's golfing empire. Because nothing says man of the people quite like owning multiple world-class golf resorts, right? Dave Ramsey, our intrepid interviewer, recently played at Trump's Turnberry course in Scotland. Apparently, it's so fancy that even the grass has a posh British accent. But jokes aside, Trump's golf resorts seem to be a masterclass in customer service. Dave couldn't stop gushing about the staff's excellence. It's like they've all graduated from the Downton Abbey School of Impeccable Service. One has to wonder, does Trump have a secret army of Butler clones? Or is his management style just that good? When asked about his hiring practices, Trump gave a surprisingly down-to-earth answer. He said he likes to promote from within, turning waitresses into restaurant managers. It's like a real-life version of Undercover Boss, but without the fake mustaches and awkward reveals. But the real gem of wisdom came when Trump talked about job satisfaction. "You have to love what you do," he said, channeling his inner motivational speaker. "If you don't love what you do, it's not going to work." Tight. So there you have it, folks. The secret to success isn't just about making money. It's about loving what you do while you make that money. Who knew Trump was such a softie at heart? Now, let's pivot to a topic that's sure to warm the cockles of every parent's heart: raising successful kids. Trump's parenting style can be summed up in one simple mantra: no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. It's like he's running a youth group, but with more gold-plated everything. Trump credits his late brother Fred for this stringent, anti-substance stance. It's a touching moment of vulnerability from a man more known for his bravado. He admits that if he had started drinking, he probably would have a problem. It's an important reminder that even larger-than-life figures have their demons and vulnerabilities. But wait, there's more to Trump's parenting philosophy than just saying no to vices. He's a big believer in genetics and finding what you're naturally good at. Racehorses like two slow racehorses don't produce a Kentucky Derby winner, he muses. It's an interesting analogy, although I'm not sure how PETA would feel about comparing children to racehorses. Trump emphasizes the importance of loving what you do, even if it goes against your parents' wishes. It's a surprisingly progressive stance from a man often viewed as traditional. If you don't love what you do, it's not going to work. He reiterates, it's like he's reading from a self-help book, but with more references to real estate.
Now, let's take a moment to address the elephant in the room, or should I say the elephant in the White House. When asked about the most rewarding part of his presidency, he didn't miss a beat. "Make America great again," he declared, probably resisting the urge to whip out a red cap for emphasis.
He spoke proudly of his administration's achievements, from tax cuts to military rebuilding. It was like listening to a proud parent at a school recital, except instead of little Timmy playing the tuba, it was the entire U.S. economy performing a complex symphony. But perhaps the most intriguing part of Trump's presidency was his creation of the Space Force. That's right, folks. While we were all arguing about healthcare and immigration, Trump was busy preparing America for the final frontier. It's like he watched one too many episodes of Star Trek and thought, you know what? We need one of those. According to Trump, the Space Force is now dominating space. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but it sounds impressive. Are we planting flags on asteroids? Building Trump towers on Mars? The possibilities are as endless as space itself. As our interview drew to a close, Dave couldn't resist asking about the infamous Butler Incident. For those who don't remember, this was when Trump was speaking at an event and had to dodge a potential attack. It was like watching a presidential version of The Matrix, complete with slow-motion hair swaying. Trump, ever the showman, recounted the incident with a mix of gravity and humor. He spoke about the blood pouring from his ear. Apparently, ears are the bloodiest part. Who knew? And how his wife Melania watched the whole thing unfold on TV. It must have been like watching a reality show, except the star was your husband and the stakes were slightly higher than a rose ceremony. In a moment of reflection, Trump mused about how lucky he was. "If I don't turn my head at the exact 90-degree angle, if I was a little off, I'm not doing this very nice interview with you," he said. It's a sobering reminder of the risks public figures face, even if the delivery was pure Trump.
As Dave prepared to wrap up the interview, Trump couldn't resist one last plug for his Make America Great Again agenda. It was like watching a greatest hits compilation of Trump's presidency. Tax cuts, regulation cuts, military rebuilding, all set to the triumphant soundtrack of economic growth. And with that, our whirlwind tour of Trumponomics came to an end. Dave left Trump Tower, probably checking his pockets to make sure he hadn't accidentally pocketed any gold-plated souvenirs, while Trump presumably went back to plotting his next move in the grand chess game of American politics and economy. So, what did we learn from this epic journey into the mind of Donald Trump? Well, for one, the man certainly doesn't lack confidence. Whether it's slashing energy prices, revamping the tax code, or creating a space military, Trump approaches everything with the gusto of a man who's never heard the word impossible. We also got a glimpse of the more personal side of Trump. The teetotaler who loves his kids, the businessman who values passion and work, The president who sees himself as a champion for the little guy, even if his definition of little might include millionaire small business owners. But perhaps the most important takeaway is this. In Trump's world, everything is possible with the right attitude, the right policies, and maybe a sprinkle of stardust from the Space Force. Whether you agree with his methods or not, you can't deny that it's an exciting vision of America's future. So there you have it, folks, his plan to clean up America's financial mess, straight from the horse's mouth. Will it work? Will we see 50% energy prices and a booming small business sector? Will we all be commuting to work in space shuttles? Only time will tell. In the meantime, keep your eyes on the economic indicators, your hand on your wallet, and maybe, just maybe, start practicing your zero-gravity golf swing. Because in his America, anything is possible, even if it seems about as likely as a humble tweet from the man himself. This is your ever-skeptical, slightly overwhelmed, but always entertained economic commentator, signing off. Remember, in his world, the only constant is change, and maybe the occasional gold-plated surprise. Stay tuned, stay informed, and most importantly, stay solvent.